She said she'd leave after getting the promotion my dad helped her get, so I packed first. Hi, I'm Ben, 33, and I was a week away from marrying the woman I thought was my forever until I came home early and heard her say, I love him, but I'm not attracted to him anymore. I'm just waiting for the right time to leave. That was the exact second I realized I wasn't building a life I was being used to build hers. I was supposed to be at the hardware store. Needed bolts for the new TV mount. I forgot my wallet, typical me, so I doubled back. Pulled into the driveway thinking nothing of it. Her friend's car was there, which made sense. Wedding planning was the theme lately. My fiancée, Marissa, had been buried in Pinterest boards and vendor emails for months. I figured I'd walk in, crack a joke, maybe hear them debating centerpieces. Instead, I walked into a war I didn't know I was losing. The front door was cracked open, just enough for voices to slip through. Marissa's best friend was saying something I didn't quite catch. Then Marissa said clear as glass, He's stable, sweet, his family loves me, but I'm not attracted to him anymore. Like at all. I haven't been for months. I'm just waiting for the right time to leave. After the holidays, maybe. Or once I get that promotion. I froze. She said it so, casually. Like she was ordering takeout, not talking about dismantling our life. Her friend. Girl, you're still planning the wedding, though. Marissa laughed. Laughed. I know. But breaking off an engagement is a pain. Deposits, plane tickets, all that drama. Plus, your boy's family? Connections everywhere. I already have 3 job interviews lined up thanks to his dad's firm. I just need to time it right. I stepped through the door. Not quietly. Let it slam behind me. That shut them both up. Marissa's face went ghost white. Her friend looked like she wanted to disappear into the couch cushions. Hey babe. She tried. I thought you were. I cut her off. The right time is now. Dead silence. You could hear the tick of the wall clock. I stepped into the living room, looked her dead in the eye, and repeated. You said you're waiting for the right time to leave. It's now. We're done. She stood up so fast the throw blanket fell off her lap. Wait, Ben, can we please talk about this? In front of her? Why not? You were fine talking about how pathetic I am with an audience 2 minutes ago. Ben, I didn't mean it like that, it was just venting. I was stressed. Stress makes people snap at customer service, not plan their exit strategy while milking someone's family for job interviews. She was crying by then. You're twisting my words. Twisting? You said, and I quote, I'm not attracted to him anymore, and I'm just waiting for the right time to leave. What context makes that better? She reached for my arm. I stepped back. Her friend grabbed her purse and made a swift exit with the energy of someone who just remembered she left the stove on 6 miles away. Marissa tried again. Please don't throw away 5 years over this. You already threw it away. I'm just finishing the job. She followed me through the apartment while I packed a bag, alternating between sobbing and swearing this was all a big misunderstanding. I didn't say much. Just grabbed what I needed and left. That night, she called 17 times. I didn't answer once. 3 days later, I came back to grab more of my stuff. Thought she might be out, nope. She was there. And she didn't come alone. Her mom and sister were waiting like it was some kind of ambush therapy session. Her mom started the second I walked in. Ben, let's all sit down and talk this out like adults. There's nothing to talk about, I said, heading straight for the hallway closet. Her sister chimed in, arms crossed, already annoyed. You're seriously going to throw away 5 years over one private conversation? One private conversation where she admitted she's not attracted to me and is using my family for job interviews? Yeah. That's exactly what I'm doing. Marissa was crying again. Her face looked like she hadn't slept. Ben, please. I was overwhelmed. I was stupid. I do love you. I am attracted to you. No, you love stability. You love what my last name can do for your career. I'm not stupid. I'm just done pretending. Her mom nodded like she had it all figured out. It's just wedding stress. Totally normal. I almost left her father twice before our wedding. Did you tell your friends he was pathetic and you were planning your exit while using his family's business connections? That shut her up. Real fast. Her sister jumped in next, clearly ready to defend Team Marissa. People say things they don't mean when they're stressed. You're blowing this way out of proportion. She wasn't venting. She was plotting. Her exact words were, after I get the promotion, After the holidays. Once I've squeezed what I need from his dad's firm. That's not stress. That's a blueprint. Marissa's eyes widened. You're twisting everything. I'm quoting you. Silence. Then her sister stood up, like I just insulted their whole family tree. Maybe she dodged a bullet. If this is how you react to one mistake, maybe you're not ready for marriage. One mistake? I turned to Marissa. You weren't just planning a breakup. You were planning the most convenient timing after you maximized your benefits. That's not a mistake. That's a con. Her mom's voice went ice cold. You're being incredibly cruel right now. My daughter has been nothing but devoted to you. Devoted to what I could give her. Not to me. I paused, looking at all three of them. And for the record, this isn't cruel. It's just the first time someone told her no and actually meant it. Her sister huffed. You'll regret this. She's beautiful, smart, and from a good family. I'll take honest over beautiful. And loyalty over connections. I grabbed my suitcase and turned toward the door. Marissa stepped in front of it. Ben, just 5 minutes. Just us. Please. Her mom whispered as she walked out. Don't beg him, honey. He's not worth it. Funny. I used to think I wasn't. They left. And then everything changed. Once her mom and sister were gone, Marissa dropped the tears like a switch flipped. I'm not even joking. 1 second, sobbing fiancé. The next, stone-faced strategist. Okay, she said. Let's be realistic. Realistic. That's the word she opened with. Not. Sorry. Not. What can I do to fix this? But realistic. We've built a life together. 5 years. Shared apartment. Mutual friends. Wedding deposits. You really want to blow all that up? Yes. She scoffed like I just said I wanted to marry a houseplant. What about the deposits? You know how much we're going to lose? Close to 30 grand. Better than losing myself in a marriage where I'm just a stepping stone in someone else's LinkedIn journey. Her tone softened. She took a step closer. Ben. Come on. I messed up, but doesn't 5 years earn me one chance to make it right? You had months. You could have been honest. Instead, you chose to fake affection while finessing your way into job interviews. I wasn't faking. I pulled out my phone. Want to hear a recording of what you said to your friend? Her face drained. You recorded me? No. But the fact that you're panicking tells me you remember exactly what you said. She froze. Then the tears came back, but this time, they felt rehearsed. You're being so mean. This isn't the man I fell in love with. And you're not the woman I thought I was marrying. So we're even. I walked past her. She followed, grabbing my sleeve. Ben, we can do therapy. Anything. Please. I didn't mean what I said. You meant all of it. You said it casually? Like it was already decided. Like I was the last item on your to-do list before your new job title. Then came the final card. The one people like her always play when control slips. She squared her shoulders, narrowed her eyes, and said with absolute venom. Fine. You want to play games? Game on. Hope you're ready. That's when I knew I wasn't dealing with heartbreak. I was dealing with an opponent. She'd been playing chess for months. I just hadn't realized I was the board. And she was about to learn I'm not nearly as clueless as she thought. The first shot fired came fast. 2 days after I moved in with my brother, I got a call from our wedding venue. The manager sounded awkward. Hi Ben, Marissa told us you were refusing to pay your half of the cancellation fees and left her with the full bill. Just wanted to confirm before we charge her card. I nearly dropped the phone. Nope. Not true. I'll pay my half right now. 30 minutes later, I sent the payment with a copy of the receipt to the venue manager. Then I sent Marissa a text. Me. Paid my half. Telling people I bailed on the bill is a weird lie, even for you. Her reply? Marissa. Thanks for embarrassing me with the venue. Really classy. Me. You told them I wasn't paying. I paid. That's not embarrassing. That's clarifying. Marissa. Whatever. Hope you're ready. Everyone's going to know what kind of person you really are. And that's exactly what she set out to do. Within the week, mutual friends started reaching out, some cautious, some outright judgmental. Apparently, Marissa's version of the story was that I got cold feet and abandoned her at the finish line. One friend texted, You okay? Marissa said you just disappeared after a fight. Another. You're not the guy I thought you were. Cool. Damage control time. I didn't start a smear campaign. I didn't blast my side on socials. I just told the truth, calmly, clearly, to the people who mattered. Some listened. Some didn't. You learn fast who your real friends are when lies start flying. But then it escalated. Marissa's best friend, the same one who heard her say she wasn't attracted to me, called out of nowhere. Hey, she's trying to get me to lie for her. Lie how? She wants me to say you were financially controlling. That you isolated her from friends. That you were emotionally abusive. My stomach dropped. I didn't breathe for a second. You gonna do it? Hell no. I told her to stop. But heads up, she's planning a whole narrative. Said you'd regret making her look bad. So that was her next move, character assassination. A few days later, right on cue, Marissa posted a cryptic quote on Instagram. Sometimes the real monster hides behind a kind face. #lessons learned. Not subtle. And it worked. A few more friends drifted. Her sister chimed in on Facebook. Some men can't handle strong women. Cute. But I didn't bite. No counter posts. No rants. Just documentation. I saved screenshots, emails, texts. Everything. Because I knew what was coming next would be worse. And I was right. The landlord called. Apparently, Marissa told him she felt unsafe with my belongings still in the apartment, and wanted me removed from the lease. I'd been staying at my brother's the whole time, paying my half of the rent without a single missed payment. The landlord, who knew both of us, said, "Unless there's a restraining order or police report, I can't remove you." But she's asking you to pay full rent since you're not living there. Yeah, no. I got a lawyer. Nothing fancy, just a consultation to lay out my options. He helped me draft a polite but firm email outlining everything, including the lease terms, my payments, and any future actions that would be considered illegal eviction or property interference. I CC'd the landlord. Marissa responded 15 minutes later. Can't believe you got a lawyer. So petty. Either come get your stuff or I'm donating it all. I didn't reply. My lawyer did. Any disposal of client's property will be considered theft and legal action will follow. Marissa backed off. But she wasn't done. Not even close. A week later, I was at work when HR called me in. Let me say that again, Human Resources called me in. Now, I'm a pretty boring employee. I show up on time, I hit my deadlines, I don't even microwave fish in the office kitchen. So when they sat me down and said, "We received an anonymous complaint about you," I genuinely thought they had the wrong guy. Allegations of erratic behavior and misuse of company resources for personal legal matters. I just blinked at them. Wait, what? My manager, who thankfully knows me well, pulled up the report. No name, no specific incidents, just vague accusations stacked like a game of Jenga held together with bad grammar and spite. "Ben," he said, "this is obviously a mess, but we still have to log it and check." I showed him my laptop, browser history, emails. Clean. Nothing shady. Nothing even questionable. He nodded. "Someone's trying to mess with you. Just document everything. Stay sharp." I didn't have to guess who someone was. I knew exactly where the complaint came from. Marissa was out here swinging at every corner of my life she could reach. But it got lower. A few nights later, my mom called, her voice tight. She messaged me. "What?" "Marissa. She sent me this long message. Said you've changed. That you're cold. Controlling. That she's worried you're spiraling." Of course she did. My mom's no pushover. She read the whole thing, then deleted it and called me. "Tell her to stop contacting me," my mom said, shaking. "This what she said about you, it's unforgivable. I know my son." But her tactic worked with her side. Her parents swallowed it whole. Her dad left me a voicemail that started with, "Be a man," and ended with, "You don't abandon family when things get hard." Sure. But apparently, using your fiancé for professional gain and planning to ghost him the second you get a promotion is totally fine. The gaslighting didn't stop there. When I finally arranged to pick up the rest of my stuff, Marissa wasn't there. Her mom was. I opened the apartment door and felt like I was walking into a courtroom drama. She stood in the entryway with her arms crossed and a look that could curdle milk. "You have some nerve showing up here. I'm still on the lease. I'm here to collect my things. She's devastated, Ben. Absolutely destroyed. And you just walk away like 5 years meant nothing? She walked away emotionally months ago. I just made it official. That's not what happened. She was having doubts. That's normal. You're the one twisting everything. My brother, who came with me and was happily pretending not to hear any of this, finally stepped in. We're not here to debate the relationship. We're just here for the stuff. Her mom stepped aside barely. We packed for 2 hours. Furniture, electronics, boxes of clothes. Every time I reached for something, her mom made a passive-aggressive comment. That couch? My husband gave that to you both. She's going to need furniture. She can buy her own, I said flatly. You're being vindictive. I'm reclaiming my property from a place I'm still legally paying for. Toward the end, Marissa finally showed up. She looked shocked. Like she didn't actually believe I'd come collect everything. Like she expected me to leave it all behind as some romantic gesture. What are you doing? She asked. You told me to come get my stuff. So I'm getting it. I didn't mean everything. I didn't answer. She started crying again. How can you be so cold? We were supposed to get married. We were. Until I found out you were counting down the days to leave me. Stop saying that. I wasn't planning anything. You literally said it out loud. You discussed timing it around promotions and job interviews. That's a plan. Try again. Her mom stepped between us. Enough. Just take your things and go. So I did. And she followed me out to the parking lot, still yelling. About how I'd regret this. About how I was making the biggest mistake of my life. About how everyone would eventually see my true colors. She screamed after me as we drove away. My brother didn't say anything for the first 5 minutes. Then, completely deadpan. Your ex is a whole horror movie. We both laughed. But deep down, I knew the credits hadn't rolled yet. She wasn't done. And I wasn't finished protecting myself. The final grenade? She went after my career. But not in the usual, whisper to coworkers or vaguely shady LinkedIn post kind of way. No, Marissa decided to go full nuclear. She called the managing partner at my dad's law firm. Now, I'm not even a lawyer. I don't work there. But my dad's firm is respected, been around forever, very old school. Marissa had met the managing partner once at a family dinner. That's all she needed. She left him a message saying she was seeking legal advice regarding a controlling ex-fiancé who had stolen her property and kicked her out of their shared home. The managing partner, who my dad plays golf with every second Thursday, called my dad personally and said, "You'll never believe the voicemail I just got." They laughed. But not the haha kind. The oh no she's serious kind. My dad, done playing nice. He called her father directly. "Your daughter just tried to manipulate my firm," he said. "She's been harassing my son and spreading lies. If this doesn't stop, we go legal." That call? Apparently it was nuclear winter in tone. Her dad lost it. Claimed I was ruining her life, destroying her reputation, humiliating their family. My dad didn't flinch. "Your daughter destroyed her own engagement when she said she wasn't attracted to my son and used our connections for job interviews. We have witnesses. Keep pushing, and we make the story public." Click. But Marissa still wasn't done. She filed a small claims case. Wanted $8,000 for emotional distress and lost property value from the furniture I took. My lawyer? Giddy. This is going to backfire so hard it'll bounce. We prepped everything. Receipts, bank statements, purchase dates. I had photo evidence of every piece of furniture complete with serial numbers and timestamps from before she even moved in. Court day arrived. Marissa walked in like she was starring in a Netflix docuseries. All done up, flanked by her mom and sister. I think they were expecting a dramatic confrontation or maybe a judge who only read her side. What they got was reality. My lawyer laid it out like a spreadsheet from hell. Dates, receipts, evidence. Photos of me buying the couch she said I stole, 2 years before we even met. We even had screenshots of her texts telling me to come get your things or I'll donate them. The judge turned to her. "Ma'am, everything listed belongs to the defendant. Purchased prior to cohabitation. You have no legal claim. But we lived together." She protested. "We shared everything. Cohabitation does not equal shared ownership," the judge said. Case dismissed. Boom. Outside the courtroom, her mom tried to get in one last dig. You'll regret this, Ben. She loved you. My lawyer stepped in before I could open my mouth. Ma'am, any further harassment, including this conversation, will result in a restraining order. This is your only warning. They left in a storm of designer perfume and righteous outrage. But the real satisfaction came a week later. She'd been using my family's connections to secure job interviews. All 3 companies? Firms my dad had personally vouched to. His assistant accidentally CC'd her email in a reply that explained why the recommendation was being withdrawn. The subject line? Update, withdrawal of support, conflict of interest. Suddenly, every company she'd been interviewing with went a different direction. And the cherry on top? That promotion she'd been banking on, the one she wanted before leaving me? Her boss, a monthly golf buddy of my dad, called him for a casual conversation. My dad just mentioned the truth. No drama. No exaggeration. Just facts. She didn't get the promotion. She got moved to a different team. Not fired, but definitely benched. I never even lifted a finger. I just let the truth breathe. She started calling me from different numbers. Begging. Then threatening. Then begging again. You ruined my career. No, Marissa. You did. You just didn't think I'd stop helping you. The apartment was the last battlefield. Marissa couldn't afford it alone, not without my half of the rent, and especially not after her career train derailed. But she also refused to admit defeat. So the lease just sat there, half paid, like a silent hostage negotiation. She started small. Hints. Texts like, "Hey, can we revisit the rent split? It just makes more sense if you cover more since you left." I didn't respond. Then it escalated. "You're legally obligated to support the household until the end of the lease." That one got a response from my lawyer. A polite reminder that I'd been paying my share the whole time. That I hadn't abandoned anything. That any rent imbalance was her problem. She went quiet for a week. Then came the tantrum. "Fine. I'll just move out and let it go into default. Hope that doesn't ruin your credit too." Cool. So I scheduled a meeting with the landlord. Sat down with him and laid it all out: proof of payments, copies of the lease, the texts, the nonsense. I made it clear I'd be happy to split the early termination fee, but I wasn't going to bankroll her ego. He nodded. "Honestly? I was wondering when you'd ask." She's been a nightmare. We broke the lease that week. Paid the fee, 50/50ths. She tried to haggle on her end until I said 4 words. Lawyers on this thread. She paid fast after that. She moved back in with her parents. I got a smaller place near my office. Quiet. Cheap. Mine. I lost about 38% of our wedding deposits. My savings took a hit, sure. But every dollar felt like burning off a tattoo I never wanted. Her family made one last attempt at manipulation. Her dad called my dad. Old school, man to man, let's fix this garbage. I just think they shouldn't throw away love over one mistake. My dad. Calm. Precise. My son didn't throw away love. He walked away from a woman who admitted she wasn't attracted to him, and was using him until it suited her to leave. There's a difference. Click. After that, silence. But Marissa couldn't resist one last shot. A text. From yet another new number. No greeting. Just, "I hope you're happy. You destroyed my career, turned everyone against me, and ruined my life. All because I had one moment of doubt. Hope karma gets you." I stared at it. And remembered her words. He brings me coffee like a lost puppy. It's kind of pathetic. She didn't have one moment of doubt. She had months of certainty. She just got caught before the perfect exit. I didn't respond. Just blocked the number and went back to living my life, one that didn't involve being a stepping stone. But the best part? Her best friend, the one who sat on the couch during that original conversation, reached out again. "She's been telling people you're some kind of sociopath. That you orchestrated this whole thing to ruin her." "Let her talk," I said. "The truth's got longer legs." "You're not worried?" "No. Anyone who knows me won't believe it. And the ones who do? I'm better off without." She paused, then said something I didn't expect. "She really underestimated you." "Yeah. She did." Months passed. Life got still. Not better right away. Just quiet. Like the aftermath of a storm where the trees are still leaning, but the rain has finally stopped. For the first time in 5 years, I didn't wake up to a good morning text or a to-do list from someone else's future. I woke up to nothing. Just me, my own plans, my own coffee. Therapy helped. I told my therapist everything. From the overheard conversation to the court case. She asked, "Do you regret ending it?" "No," I said immediately. "I regret not seeing it sooner." "What signs did you miss?" God, where do I begin? The distance. The avoidance. The way she always flinched when I reached for her. The way she suddenly had work dinners every Friday. How she hadn't initiated anything physical in over 3 months. I thought it was stress. Cold feet. Wedding jitters. I never once let myself consider the truth, that she'd already emotionally moved out, she just hadn't packed her bags yet. My brother was a rock through all of it. Never judged, never pushed. Just handed me beers, beat me at FIFA, and told me she was a sociopath every time I doubted myself. My mom. She tried to set me up with her friend's daughter within 2 weeks. She's sweet. Teaches 3rd grade. "Mom," I said, "I just nuked my whole life. You can't let one bad woman ruin all the good ones." She wasn't wrong. But I wasn't ready. I spent time figuring out how I got here. Not to blame myself, but to understand how I let someone I loved turn me into an asset instead of a partner. I deleted our photos. All of them. 5 years erased in 20 minutes. I found the engagement ring in my nightstand drawer, stuffed in a sock like it was ashamed of itself. Debated pawning it. Decided that felt petty. Mailed it to her parents' house. No note. No drama. Got a single text back from her mom. "That was unnecessarily cruel." Blocked the number. Around the time we would have been getting married, I expected to feel broken. Instead, I felt relief. Like the finish line had been replaced with an exit sign I never knew I needed. She started dating someone new. Some guy from her gym. Of course. I know because her cousin posted a picture with them tagged at brunch. I didn't feel angry. Just grateful. Grateful that guy gets to be her new project. Grateful I'm no longer the clueless puppy holding a coffee cup while she drafts her escape plan. I still see her name pop up occasionally, mutual friends, tagged photos, the usual digital debris of a long-term relationship. But I don't feel anything anymore. Not pain. Not hate. Just distance. And honestly, that feels like victory. By the time fall rolled around, the dust had settled, but I hadn't. I was different. Not in that haircut and new gym membership way people do after breakups. In the way that makes you stop pretending. I wasn't trying to win anyone back. I wasn't trying to prove I was fine. I was finally just me. I'd started going to the park every Saturday morning. Same spot, same bench. Brought a thermos of coffee, a sketch pad, even though I couldn't draw to save my life. It wasn't about art. It was about space. No screens. No noise. Just a guy, a pen, and the peace of knowing no one expected anything from him right now. One morning, I saw a familiar face walking a dog. Not Marissa, thank God. Her best friend. The friend. The one on the couch the day this whole thing exploded. She stopped. We stared. The dog wagged like it didn't care about human drama. She broke the silence. Hey. Hey. I wasn't sure if I should say something. You just did. She smiled. Small. You look better. I feel better. She sat. Just like that. No drama. Just a shared bench in late September air. I want to apologize, she said. For laughing. For not stopping her that day. I should have said something sooner. You were her friend. I was supposed to be a good friend. Watching her use you like that? I was sick about it. That's why I warned you. I appreciated that. More than you know. She nodded. She's still telling people you ruined her life. Let her. It's the only version of events where she's the victim and not the architect. We sat in silence for a bit. Then she asked the question no one had asked me, not once. Do you still love her? I took a long breath. No. But I loved the idea of her. The version I thought was real. That version was never real. She said. I know. I just didn't want to admit it. She stood up, dusted her jeans, and gave me a look somewhere between sympathy and respect. You deserve someone who doesn't need to scheme behind your back to feel powerful. Yeah. I finally believed that. And I did. Not because someone else told me. Not because I read it in some self-help book. But because I'd walked through hell with someone who smiled while she burned the bridge behind me and I still came out whole. That's the part no one talks about. Not the heartbreak. The rebuild. When you look in the mirror and realize you're still standing. Not broken. Just battle-tested. The man who left that apartment? He was still in there. Just a little smarter now. A little meaner, maybe. But also a whole lot stronger. A few months later, I ran into one of Marissa's old coworkers at a networking event. Totally random mutual connection introduced us. Didn't even realize we knew the same people until halfway through a beer. He raised his eyebrows when I said my full name. Wait. You're that Ben? I knew what was coming. Braced for it. She used to talk about you a lot. Thought you were a myth, honestly. The guy who brought her lunch during crunch weeks. Who helped her polish her portfolio. Who literally rewrote her resume line by line. That was me, I said, sipping. He shook his head. Man. She really had people fooled. Always made it sound like she carried the relationship. That you were this sweet but clueless tag-along. Oof. Not even surprised anymore. He paused. But I gotta say, after everything that went down, you're the one people respect now. You didn't throw shade. Didn't go on a warpath. Just handled your business and kept moving. I shrugged. What's the point of screaming at someone who's already committed to misunderstanding you? He smiled. Smart. After that, word got around. Quietly. That maybe Marissa's version of the story didn't add up. That the guy she painted as weak was the one who walked away with his head high and his spine intact. But here's the real twist. I stopped needing people to believe me. I stopped needing to control the narrative. Because the truth didn't require a megaphone. It just required time. And in that time, I rebuilt everything, cleaner, quieter, and this time for me. Started spending more time with people who didn't ask what I could do for them. Got promoted at work. Started sleeping through the night again. Went on a few dates. Nothing serious. But none of them reminded me of her, and that felt like progress. Then, one night, my mom dropped something on me while we were having dinner. I saw Marissa last week. At the grocery store. I paused mid-bite. Yeah? She didn't see me. But I saw her. She looked lost. I nodded. Yeah. I get it. Mom tilted her head. Do you? Yeah. She built a life around manipulation. When that stopped working, she didn't know what to do. You still mad at her? No. Not mad. Just done. Mom smiled. That quiet, proud kind that doesn't need confetti or words. I'm glad you're okay. She said. I'm better than okay. And I was. Not because the pain was gone. But because it finally had a shelf to live on. Out of the way. Labeled. No longer bleeding into everything else. Sometimes healing isn't dramatic. Sometimes it's just a Thursday where you forget to think about them. The real shift came when I stopped needing closure and started creating it. It happened at the most mundane place possible, a coffee shop. Not our coffee shop. Just a local spot near my new apartment where they play jazz on Tuesday mornings and the barista remembers your order by week 2. I was standing in line when I heard someone say, Ben? I turned. Eliza. Marissa's cousin. The only member of her family who'd ever sent me a genuine apology during the fallout. 16, maybe 17 when it all exploded. I remembered she DM'd me once after the breakup. I always liked you. I'm sorry she did that. Now she was taller, older, mid-20s. A quiet intelligence in her eyes. I almost didn't recognize you, she said. You look solid. I smiled. Yeah. Took a while, but I got there. We chatted a few minutes. Light. Friendly. She didn't bring up her cousin, and I didn't ask. But just as we were parting, she hesitated. For what it's worth, she said. Everyone sees it now. What happened? What she did. Even her parents. They just pretend not to because it's easier. I nodded. That tracks. She talks about you sometimes. Like she lost something she didn't understand. She did, I said. But so did I. She tilted her head. Do you want her to regret it? I paused, thinking. Not really. Regret's just a mirror. I'd rather she change. But that's not my responsibility anymore. Eliza smiled small. That's a good answer. Then she left. Just like that. And I walked home with this strange, unexpected lightness. Not from the conversation, but from the silence after it. The way my chest didn't tighten. The way I didn't replay every word, looking for barbs or hidden meaning. It was just a moment. And then it was gone. That's when I realized I'd moved on. Not in the "I'm dating someone new" kind of way. In the "her name doesn't echo anymore" kind of way. Healing doesn't arrive with fireworks. It shows up in skipped heartbeats and quiet exits. In mornings where you forget the timelines. In nights where the bitterness doesn't follow you to bed. And in the end, that was the victory she never saw coming. Not revenge. Not karma. Just me, living well, without her name dragging behind me like a shadow. A week after that coffee shop run-in, I got an invitation. Digital. From a mutual friend I hadn't spoken to since the breakup mess. It was for a wedding. Not mine, obviously. Hers. Marissa. She was getting married. To the gym guy. I stared at the screen for a long time, not angry or jealous, just curious. Why was I on the guest list? Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe she sent it to everyone in her old contacts without thinking. Maybe it was a flex. A weird, passive-aggressive power move. Or maybe she just wanted to show that she'd moved on. Faster, better, shinier. I didn't respond. But I didn't delete it either. For 2 days, it sat in my inbox. Then, finally, I clicked decline. No note. No message. Just silence. That felt like closure more than anything I could have said. A few days later, her friend, the same one from the couch that day, texted me. Did you get the invite too? I replied. Yep. Declined. She sent back a single message. Smart. And that was that. I didn't think about it again. No doom scroll. No Instagram stalking. No checking the registry out of spite. I let it go. Not because I'd forgotten what happened, but because I finally understood the most important thing. Her choices weren't a reflection of my worth, they were a reflection of her character. She used me, yes. She played me, yes. But I survived it. And more than that, I grew from it. These days, I still keep the apartment quiet. Still walk to the park on Saturdays. Still haven't thrown out the ugly blue mug from my old kitchen because for some reason, it feels like it belongs to the version of me who figured it all out the hard way. The guy who walked into his own living room one random afternoon and heard the truth that saved his life. That guy? He finally knows what he deserves. And it isn't someone waiting for the right time to leave. It's someone who's proud to stay. It hit me while I was folding laundry, of all things. Just a random Thursday night. I was pairing socks black with black, navy with navy, and it struck me how peaceful my life had become. There was no drama. No games. No watching my phone light up and wondering what version of her I'd get that hour. No wondering if I was being too much or not enough, or if some imaginary checklist I hadn't seen was being tallied against me. Just socks. A quiet apartment. And my own damn name on the lease. That's healing. Not the big wins. Not the vindication. Not even the subtle revenge of watching someone fall off the pedestal they built for themselves. It's the small, boring wins. Making dinner for one and liking it. Sleeping diagonally just because I can. Reclaiming every corner of my day she used to occupy without permission. My brother came over that weekend with pizza and a terrible action movie queued up. We didn't talk about her. Not once. And that was maybe the biggest marker of all. She wasn't in the background anymore. Not even in memory. Just gone. Halfway through the movie, he turned to me and said, "You seem good." "I am." "You sure?" "Yeah." And I meant it. It wasn't perfect. Some days I still flinched when I heard her name. Some nights, I'd catch myself rewinding to that afternoon, the one where she didn't know I was home yet, and I'd feel that cold echo of her voice. I love him, but I'm not attracted to him anymore. But those moments were fewer now. Softer. Less sharp. Like an old scar that doesn't ache every time it rains. The truth is, I stopped trying to rewrite the past. She said what she said. She meant it. And I walked away. And that, right there, was the most powerful sentence in the entire story. I walked away. A few weeks ago, I found something buried in an old moving box. It was a wedding notebook. Not Marissa's. Mine. I'd forgotten I even had one. She handled most of the planning, but I'd made a little notebook early on dates, venues, ideas I liked. One page said, "Surprise her with her favorite dessert at the reception. Chocolate mousse, not cake." Another had a rough sketch of the honeymoon itinerary. Greece. The islands. A boat tour I spent 3 hours researching because she once said she loved the water. I sat there with that notebook in my hands, and for a second, I felt like a stranger to myself. I wasn't embarrassed by it. Or bitter. I was grieving the man who wrote it. The guy who planned a life around a woman who saw him as an asset, not a partner. That man didn't see it coming. He was loyal, patient, thoughtful, and completely unaware he was being sized up like a temporary rental until something better came along. And that man? He deserved better. I closed the notebook, walked out to the dumpster, and dropped it in. No ceremony. No dramatic slow-mo. Just gone. Because here's the thing they don't tell you about closure. It's not always a conversation. It's not always an apology. Sometimes, it's a quiet moment by a dumpster when you finally let go of a future that never actually existed. Later that night, I stood on my balcony, sipping tea like I was someone who drank tea now, and I realized I didn't feel sad. I felt clear. I had my own apartment. My own name. My own peace. And no one was waiting for the right time to leave. Because no one was leaving. And that meant for the first time in a long time I could finally start staying. It's strange how life reshapes itself around silence. The kind that lingers not because someone left but because you made them leave. I used to think closure came wrapped in answers. Some big final scene where they admit everything and beg you not to go. But real closure? It's just waking up one day and not needing anything from them anymore. And that's where I am now. Marissa's name hasn't come up in months. Not in texts. Not in friend circles. Not even as a punchline. She's drifted into that weird territory where old love lives recognizable, but irrelevant. I don't hate her. I don't think about her wedding. I don't hope for her downfall. Because the revenge people always talk about. The dramatic kind, with burning bridges and bitter monologues? Turns out, I didn't need it. I didn't need to post receipts. I didn't need to torch her reputation. I didn't need to win. I just had to stop participating. She played games. I played facts. She moved in silence, planning an exit. I moved in daylight, carrying the truth. And that difference? That's what built the life I have now. Because here's what she never understood, I wasn't the lost puppy. I was the house. The foundation. The one she stood on while pretending she was doing it all herself. And when I left, she didn't just lose me. She lost the floor beneath her. These days I don't look back. Not because it doesn't matter but because it finally doesn't define me. I go to work. I come home to peace. I read more. I cook for one and don't feel lonely. I stopped chasing what I thought I was supposed to be and started becoming who I actually am. And if you're wondering, yeah, love might happen again. One day. But it'll be different this time. I won't be chosen for what I offer. I'll be chosen for who I am. No secrets. No strategy. No waiting for the right time. Just two people who actually want the same life at the same time. Until then, I'm not rushing. I've got clean sheets, a gym routine, a dog-eared library card, and a life that's quiet in all the best ways. The morning after her wedding, I made pancakes. For myself. Played music. Left my phone on silent. She was probably posting curated perfection on Instagram. And me? I was barefoot in my kitchen, flipping pancakes no one else would eat, humming off-key. And smiling. Because that's the part she never understood. I was never the man who needed her. I was the man who just needed to remember I didn't. And the second I heard the truth that afternoon, second I stood in my own living room and realized I was sleeping next to someone waiting to escape, I chose me. And I never looked back. Not once. Not even when the door slammed behind me.